Welcome to Fantastic Vision. Please subscribe us before you watch today's video. The current international situation is really changing rapidly, especially in the United States after Trump took office. The attitude change is so fast that it is hard to keep up. Just now, it implemented a tough tariff policy on China, and soon came to China for negotiations, and quickly returned to the starting point. Now, for the sake of peace talks between the two sides, Trump has rarely spoken well of China, saying that the relationship between the two sides is very important and cooperation can do a lot. This has released a lot of signals, and ASML also felt it, so it began to turn. As the world's leading lithography machine manufacturer, ASML of the Netherlands once occupied more than 90% of the global high-end lithography machine market, especially high-end EUV lithography machines, which are an exclusive monopoly. So it has always been very arrogant. At that time, Shanghai Microelectronics of China sent a team to visit and study ASML, and they directly said that even if they gave you the drawings, they could not make lithography machines. As a result, they did not expect that China really made it after returning, although the process was relatively low. Later, ASML said that their lithography machines were at least 15 years ahead of China, and the mainland basically had no chance of catching up. It is under this view that when the United States asked the Netherlands and ASML to restrict the export of lithography machines to China, they strictly implemented the supply cut as required. Even though they said that they attached great importance to the mainland market, they still cut off the supply according to the US requirements. Because ASML understands that even if it cannot sell high-end lithography machines to China, Chinese companies still need low-end lithography machines. The situation since last year just illustrates the problem. Despite the US restrictions on shipments, ASML's revenue from the mainland has increased instead of decreased. Even the revenue from the mainland once accounted for 49% of ASML's total revenue, making it its largest overseas market. It can be said that if it were not for the support of revenue from the mainland market in 2024, ASML's total revenue would basically not grow. After all, the overall chip situation has been downward in the past 2 years, and most wafer companies have slowed down production expansion and reduced equipment procurement. The reason why the demand for lithography machines in the Chinese mainland market has increased is mainly due to US restrictions. Worried that the scope of restrictions on lithography machines will become larger and larger, they took the opportunity to purchase a large number of lithography machines that they can buy in advance in reserve for expansion in the next few years. In addition, China's low-end domestic lithography machines have made important breakthroughs, and there is no need to buy so many low-end lithography machines. In this regard, ASML can also feel that the revenue from the mainland market has been greatly reduced after entering 2025, and the proportion in the first quarter of this year has dropped to 27%. If ASML does not change, it may fall back to about 15%. So, has the demand for lithography machines in the Chinese mainland market really decreased? In fact, it is not. It is just that the demand for low-end lithography machines has decreased. As domestic chip manufacturing technology continues to improve, those high-end immersion DUV lithography machines are beginning to be needed. However, these models have been restricted from export to China by the US and Dutch governments, So ASML decided to take the initiative. As mentioned at the beginning of the article, ASML also keenly felt the situation and saw the hope of lifting the ban on lithography machines. Therefore, ASML's current CEO Fu Kai recently made a rare statement, pointing out that US restrictions will weaken ASML's dominant position. Because the US export control policy has prompted the mainland to accelerate its local semiconductor industry, causing ASML to lose more market. Because of the US export control, ASML's revenue from the mainland market has been declining, and performance pressures, such as revenue and market value, have begun to emerge. ASML's stock price has fallen by about 25% in the past year, and Fu Kai realized that the risk is coming. Therefore, ASML not only issued a warning to the United States, but also took practical action, sending 3 troops to the Netherlands, the European Union and the United States respectively. The first 2 groups of personnel went to the Netherlands and the European Union, hoping that they could take more measures to protect European companies. Another group of personnel went to the United States for communication and mediation, hoping to persuade the United States to reduce the scope of restrictions on lithography machines to a certain extent. The reason for this is that ASML saw that the United States took the initiative to ease relations with China and smelled the hope of selling high-end lithography machines to China. The European Union had a gap with the United States and was also communicating with China. ASML wanted to make good use of this opportunity. In this regard, some foreign media directly stated that the lithography machine giant ASML has begun to turn. No longer silently complying with the US export control policy, it hopes to take advantage of the current favorable opportunity to strive for the opportunity to export lithography machines to China to consolidate its position. Of course, China welcomes ASML's shipment of high-end lithography machines to China. After all, China also needs them. But China cannot pin its hopes on this, and still needs to continue to strengthen the research and development of domestic lithography machines, strive to make domestic production the best, and completely get rid of dependence.